Jake Morrison walked into the huge room where aliens from different worlds sat in a circle. The place was bigger than any building he had ever seen on Earth. Strange lights floated in the air, made everything glow with soft colors. He could smell something like metal mixed with flowers, but not quite like anything from his home planet. The aliens looked at him like he was some kind of bug that had crawled into their meeting. Some had too many eyes. Others had skin that looked like rocks or glass. One creature was so tall that Jake had to bend his neck all the way back just to see its face. Amy Carter walked beside Jake. She was his best officer and the smartest person he knew when it came to fighting. Her boots made small clicking sounds. On the smooth floor, she kept her face calm, but Jake could tell she was ready for trouble. Behind them came Dr. Richard Hayes. He was old, but still sharp. His gray hair was messy because he always ran his hands through it when he was thinking hard. Richard carried a small bag with papers and devices that could show the aliens what Earth had learned about them. The biggest alien in the room started talking. Its voice sounded like rocks falling down a mountain. So these are the humans from the small blue planet. How interesting that such weak creatures think they can speak to us. Jake stopped walking and looked straight at the alien. We came here to warn you. Your people are making a big mistake. Several aliens made sounds that might have been laughing. The noise was awful, like metal being torn apart. A creature that looked like it was made of bright crystals stood up. Its body flashed with different colors as it spoke. Little human, your world has been chosen for our next conquest. The hegemony fleet is already moving toward your solar system. In a few of your Earth days, your planet will belong to us. Amy took a step forward. Her hand moved close to the weapon on her belt, but she did not touch it. You should listen to what we have to say. Before you do something you will be sorry for. Sorry you think we will be sorry for taking? Over a world full of primitive creatures who barely know how to leave their own planet? Your people have been watching us for years, Richard said in his quiet voice. You think you know everything about humans? But you are wrong about something very important. A new alien joined the conversation. This one looked like a giant bug with too many legs and eyes that moved in different directions. We know exactly what you are capable of, human. We have seen your metal ships that use fire to move through space. We have seen your simple weapons that throw pieces of metal. We have watched your small colonies on nearby planets. Jake felt his heart beating faster, but he kept his voice steady. What else have you seen? Nothing worth worrying about? The bug alien said. Its voice sounded like it was talking through water. Your species has no energy shields, no plasma cannons, no quantum bombs. You're exactly like every other young species we have conquered. Every other species? Amy asked. The crystal alien flashed with pride. We have taken over 600 worlds. Every time, the pattern is the same. Young species develop space, travel. They build colonies. They think they are ready to defend themselves. Then we arrive, and they learn how wrong they were. Richard opened his bag and pulled out a small device. May I show you something? Before any alien could answer, he pressed a button. A picture appeared in the air above the device. It showed Earth as seen from space, blue and white and beautiful. This is our home, Richard said. It looks peaceful, does it not? The aliens looked at the picture without much interest. Now let me show you something else, Richard continued. He pressed another button. The picture changed to show the space around Earth. There were small dots scattered everywhere, space stations, satellites, and other objects that humans had built. Simple mining equipment and communication devices, the crystal alien said. We have seen it all before. Jake smiled for the first time since entering the room. Are you sure about that? The bug alien moved its many eyes to look at Jake more closely. What are you trying to say, human? I am saying that you have been watching us for years, but you have not been seeing us, Jake replied. You look at our ships and see primitive technology. You look at our weapons and see simple tools. You look at our space stations and see basic equipment. Amy picked up where Jake left off. But you never asked yourselves why a species that seems so primitive has been spreading through its solar system so quickly. You never wondered why we build so many things in space when we could build them more easily on our planet. You never thought about why we put mining equipment in places where there are no good metals to mine, Richard added. Or why our communication satellites need so much power when they only send simple messages. The aliens in the room became quiet. Some of them started looking at each other with expressions that might have been worry. The crystal alien flashed with angry colors. What are you saying? Are you claiming to have secret weapons? Every species we conquer tries to convince us they are more dangerous than they appear. We are not trying to convince you of anything, Jake said. We are trying to warn you. There is a difference? Warn us of what? The tall alien demanded. Richard put his device away and looked around the room. You have conquered 600 worlds. You have fought against species with energy shields and plasma cannons and quantum bombs. You have won every time because you understand those kinds of weapons. You know how to fight against them. Of course we do, the bug alien said. We have been perfecting our military technology for thousands of years. But what happens when you meet a species that never developed those kinds of weapons? Amy asked. What happens when you face an enemy that took a completely different path? The room became even quieter. Several aliens shifted in their seats. Jake took a deep breath. We are not here to threaten you. We are here to give you one. Last chance to change your minds? Turn your fleet around. Leave Earth alone. Find some other way to expand your empire, if we refuse, the crystal alien asked. Jake looked at Amy and Richard. They had talked about this moment many times. They had hoped it would not come to this, but they had always known it might. Then you will learn why invading Earth really is pure madness, Jake said quietly. And when your fleets are destroyed and your soldiers are floating dead in space, remember this conversation. Remember that we tried to warn you. The aliens erupted in angry noises. Some stood up and waved arms or tentacles or whatever they used for hands. The crystal alien flashed so brightly that it hurt to look at. But Jake, Amy, and Richard just walked out of the room. They had done what they came to do. They had given the aliens a choice. Now Earth would have to show the galaxy what humans were really capable of. Lisa Rodriguez stood on the bridge of her ship and watched the darkness of space. Stars twinkled in the distance like tiny diamonds. Everything looked peaceful and quiet, but she knew that was about to change. Her ship, the Defiance, was hidden. Behind the moon, where the aliens could not see it yet? Admiral, we are getting signals from our deep space sensors, said Ben Taylor. He was young and nervous, but good at his job. His hands shook a little as he read the information on his screen. The alien fleet just dropped out of hyperspace near Pluto. Lisa felt her heart beat faster, but she kept her voice calm. How many ships? 3,000, ma'am? Maybe more? They are so big that our computers are having trouble counting them all. Lisa nodded. It was exactly what Earth's spies had told them to expect. The hegemony always sent huge fleets to make sure their enemies would be too scared to fight back. Usually it worked. Send a message to all Earth defense stations, Lisa ordered. Tell them to stay hidden and wait for my signal. No one moves. Until I say so. Far above Earth, Steve Johnson floated inside the Guardian defense station. Through the thick windows, he could see the blue and green planet below. Clouds swirled over the oceans and continents. It looked so beautiful and peaceful that it was hard to believe a war was about to start. Captain, the alien fleet is moving through our solar system, reported Kelly Brooks. She was new to space duty and still got excited about everything she saw. They are coming straight toward Earth. Their ships are enormous. Steve looked at the screen showing the alien fleet. Each ship was longer than the biggest cities on Earth. They had weapons sticking out from every side. They moved in perfect lines like soldiers marching to battle. How long until they reach us? Steve asked. 6 hours, sir? Maybe less if they speed up? Steve pressed a button to talk to his crew. Listen up, everyone. The enemy is coming, just like we knew they would. Remember your training? Remember what we were fighting for? Remember that those aliens have no idea what they are really walking into. Deep underground in the mountains, General Paul Martinez watched dozens of screens showing different parts of the solar system. His command center was built inside solid rock, protected from any weapons the aliens might have. And men and women in uniforms moved around him, checking computers and talking quietly into microphones. General, all mining stations have moved to their new positions, said one of his officers. The aliens think they are looking at normal space equipment, but everything is ready. Paul smiled. What about the solar collectors? All in position, sir? The enemy has no idea that those things collecting sunlight can do much more than make electricity. Paul had spent years planning for this day. Every piece of equipment that Earth had put into space looked normal and harmless. Mining stations, communication satellites, solar power collectors, research laboratories. The aliens would see exactly what they expected to see from a primitive species. They would not see the weapons until it was too late. On the other side of the moon, Danny Wright checked the instruments in his secret base. The aliens did not even know this base existed. Sensors could not find it because it was built inside an old crater and covered with special materials that made it invisible. Danny, are you seeing this? Came a voice over his radio. It was Susan Clark, the scientist, who had figured out how to make Earth's new weapons work. The alien fleet is scanning everything in the solar system. They're trying to count our defenses. Danny laughed. What are they finding? Exactly what we want them to find. Old mining equipment, simple satellites, basic space stations. They have no idea that every single thing they are looking at is actually a weapon. The alien fleet moved closer to Earth. Their scanners worked constantly, checking for any signs of danger. They found exactly what their leaders had told them they would find: primitive human technology, simple metal ships, basic weapons that could barely hurt a small asteroid. The hegemony commander was pleased. This would be easier than most conquests. Humans had even fewer defenses than expected. Sir, we are receiving a message from the planet, reported one of his officers. Put it on the screen. A human face appeared on the display. It was a woman with gray hair and tired eyes. She wore a simple uniform with no decorations. I am President Linda Walsh of Earth, the woman said. I'm calling to ask you to reconsider your attack on our world. We are a peaceful people. We do not want war. The alien commander made a sound like grinding metal. It was his species' way of laughing. Humans, your planet has been chosen for conquest. Surrender now, and we will allow some of your people too. Live as workers for the hegemony, and if we refuse, President Walsh asked, then every human on your planet will die. Your cities will be destroyed. Your species will be erased from the galaxy. President Walsh was quiet for a moment.
Oh.
Then she spoke again, and her voice was different, stronger. Commander, you have made a terrible mistake. You've confused being peaceful with being weak. They are not the same thing. The connection ended. The alien commander stared at the blank screen for a moment, then made the grinding sound again. Prepare all weapons. When we reach their planet, we will show them what happens to species that refuse to surrender. Back on Earth, President Walsh turned to the people around her. Are all our people ready? Yes, ma'am, said the general beside her. Every defense station is in position. Okay. Every weapon is charged and ready. The trap is set, and our allies. Martian colonies are ready. The asteroid belt miners are in position. Even the research station near Jupiter is prepared to help. President Walsh nodded. The aliens thought they were attacking one small planet with primitive defenses. They had no idea that humans had turned their entire solar system into the largest military installation in galactic history. Send the signal to Admiral Rodriguez. Tell her to begin Phase 1. High above Earth, Lisa Rodriguez received the message. She looked at her crew and saw determination in their faces. These men and women knew what was at stake. They were not just fighting for Earth, they were fighting for the right of all species to live free. All stations, this is Admiral Rodriguez, she said into her microphone. The enemy is exactly where we want them. Begin Phase 1 of operation. Homecoming. Show these aliens what happens when they threaten our home. All through the solar system, things that looked like harmless space equipment began to change. Mining stations turned to point their equipment at the alien fleet. Solar collectors moved to focus their energy in new directions. Communication. Satellites opened panels that had been hidden for years. The aliens were about to learn that sometimes the most dangerous weapons are the ones that do not look like weapons at all. The first alien ship fired its massive plasma cannon at what looked like a small mining station near Mars. The weapon was powerful enough to destroy a city. The aliens expected to see the human station explode into tiny pieces and disappear. Instead, something impossible happened. The bright energy beam hit the station and simply stopped. The deadly plasma that should have melted metal and vaporized everything just faded away like it had never existed. Commander Zekdar of the hegemony fleet stared at his screen. His 4 eyes blinked in confusion. What happened to our weapon, sir? The energy beam was absorbed by some kind of field around the human station, his weapons officer reported. But our scanners show no shield generators, no energy barriers, nothing that could stop our plasma cannons. Fire again. Use more power. This time, 3 ships fired together. Combined energy was enough to crack a small moon. The beams struck the mining station and disappeared, just like before. The human station sat there undamaged, as if nothing had happened. Possible, Zekdar hissed. They have no shield technology. Our spies confirmed this. What the aliens did not know was that humans had never tried to build energy shields because they had discovered something much better. Dr. Susan Clock had spent 15 years learning how to bend and twist gravity itself, while other species fought with energy weapons and energy barriers. Humans had learned to control the force that held planets together. From her hidden laboratory on the far side of the moon, Susan watched her gravitational field generators work perfectly. All defensive fields are holding, she reported to the other human commanders. The alien weapons cannot touch us. But that was only the beginning. As more alien ships moved deeper into the solar system, they began to notice something strange. Their ships were slowing down. Not because their engines were failing, but because space itself seemed to be getting thicker around them. We're detecting massive gravitational anomalies throughout this system, the alien navigation officer said. Our ships are being pulled toward empty areas of space. Zekdar looked at the scanner readings. According to his instruments, there were invisible objects scattered everywhere. Objects so dense that they bent space around themselves. But when he looked out the windows, he saw nothing but empty darkness. What are those things? He demanded. Unknown, sir. They appear to be artificial gravity wells, but that technology does not exist. No species has ever learned to create gravity. Danny Wright smiled as he watched the alien fleet struggle against his gravity traps. From his secret moon base, he controlled dozens of gravity generators that could pull enemy ships exactly where he wanted them. The aliens were like insects, caught in an invisible web. Phase 2 is working perfectly, he reported. The enemy fleet is trapped in our gravity fields. They cannot escape to hyperspace, and they cannot move freely through normal space. Admiral Rodriguez decided it was time to show the aliens what human ships really looked like. She pressed a button, and all around the solar system, human vessels began to appear. They did not drop out of hyperspace or come from behind asteroids. They simply became visible, as if they had been there all along, which in fact they had. The alien sensors had been looking for metal ships with energy shields and plasma weapons. They had never thought to scan for vessels that bent light around themselves or ships that could hide inside twisted space. The human ships were unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen. They were not huge like alien battleships. They did not bristle with obvious weapons. Instead, they moved through space like living things, bending and flowing around obstacles that were not there. Captain Mary Foster commanded one of these ships, the Horizon. She had trained for years to pilot a vessel that did not follow normal rules of physics. Her ship could appear in one place and attack from another. It could stretch space to make weapons miss, or compress space to make her own attacks hit harder. Is Captain Foster to all human ships, she said into her radio. Target the alien flagship. Show them what a gravity torpedo can do. The weapon that left Foster's ship looked like a small ball of twisted light. It moved slowly, much slower than the energy beams the aliens were used to. But when it reached the massive alien flagship, something terrible happened. The huge ship, over a kilometer long and armored with the strongest materials in the galaxy, simply crumpled. Space itself compressed around the vessel, crushing it like a tin can. The flagship that had destroyed hundreds of worlds was reduced to a ball of wreckage no bigger than a house. "By the void," whispered an alien officer on another ship. "What kind of weapon was that?" Zektar could not answer. In all his years of conquest, he had never seen anything like this. His mighty fleet, which had never lost a battle, was being destroyed by weapons that should not exist. Another human ship appeared near a group of alien cruisers. This vessel, commanded by Captain Tony Miller, fired a different kind of weapon. Instead of crushing the alien ships, it simply made them disappear. The gravity beam created a tiny black hole that sucked the enemy vessels into nothingness. "All ships retreat," Zektar ordered. "Return to hyperspace immediately." But his ships could not obey. The human gravity traps held them in place. Every time an alien vessel tried to escape, invisible hands of twisted space pulled it back. "Sir, hyperspace engines are not working," the navigation officer reported. "The gravitational fields are too strong. We cannot jump away." General Martinez watched the battle from his underground command center. On his screens, he could see the alien fleet falling apart. Ships that had conquered hundreds of worlds were being destroyed by weapons they could not understand or fight against. "Sir, should we offer them a chance to surrender?" asked one of his officers. Martinez thought about all the species, the aliens, had enslaved, all the worlds they had destroyed, all the people who had died because the hegemony believed might made right. "No," he said quietly. "They chose this path when they decided to invade Earth. Let them see what real power looks like." More human ships revealed themselves. Some fired gravity bombs that created storms of twisted space. Others used gravitational beams to pull alien vessels apart like toys. A few simply made enemy ships so heavy that they collapsed under their own weight. The battle was not really a battle at all. It was a demonstration. For the first time in galactic history, a species with superior technology was learning what it felt like to be completely helpless. Susan Clark watched the destruction through her instruments. She felt sad that it had come to this, but she also felt proud. Humans had always been told they were weak and primitive. Now the galaxy would learn the truth. "Phase 3 complete," she reported. "Enemy fleet is 80% destroyed. The survivors are requesting permission to surrender." Admiral Rodriguez looked at the few remaining alien ships. They were damaged and helpless, floating in space like broken toys. "Tell them," she said, "that they should have listened when we tried to warn them." The war for Earth was over in 6 hours. When the last alien ship stopped moving, space around Earth was filled with broken metal and floating debris. 3,000 ships that had never lost a battle were now nothing but scrap. Only 12 alien vessels survived, and they were badly damaged. Their weapons were destroyed. Their engines barely worked. They floated helplessly in the gravity fields that still held them prisoner. Jake Morrison stood once again before the Galactic Council, but everything had changed. The huge meeting room was the same, but the aliens who filled it looked very different. Where before, they had been proud and confident. Now they whispered among themselves with fear in their voices. The crystal alien who had laughed at Earth's warnings now flickered with pale, worried colors. The giant bug creature kept its many eyes focused on the floor. The tall alien that had towered over everyone seemed to have shrunk somehow. "How?" the crystal alien asked, its voice much quieter than before. "How did you destroy our greatest fleet?" Amy Carter stepped forward. She looked exactly the same as she had weeks ago, but now the aliens watched her every movement like she might be dangerous. "We told you that you did not understand what you were facing. But our intelligence," reports the bug alien clicked nervously. "We watched your species for years. We saw your primitive technology, your simple weapons, your basic spaceships." Dr. Richard Hayes opened his bag and pulled out another device. This time, when he pressed the button, the picture that appeared showed the battle. Aliens could see their mighty ships being crushed and destroyed by weapons that seemed to come from nowhere. "You saw what we wanted you to see," Richard explained. "Every species you conquered before us developed the same way. Energy weapons, energy shields, plasma cannons, quantum bombs. You learned to fight against all of those things. So we took a different path," Jake added. "While you were perfecting energy technology, we were learning to control gravity itself." The room became completely silent. Several aliens looked at each other with expressions of shock and disbelief. "Gravity manipulation?" the crystal alien whispered. "That is impossible. No species has ever mastered gravitational forces." "No species except humans," Amy said simply. A new voice spoke from the back of the room. It belonged to an alien that looked like a walking tree with silver bark. "If you have such powerful weapons, why did you not conquer other worlds? Why did you stay on your own planet instead of building an empire?" Jake looked at the tree-like alien for a long moment before answering. "Because we learned something that you never did. Real strength does not come from taking things away from others. It comes from protecting what matters to you." Admiral Rodriguez appeared on a large screen at the front of the room. Behind her, they could see the bridge of her ship and the stars of space. "The Galactic Council has been ruling through fear for thousands of years. You conquered species because you could, not because you needed to. But that time is over," she continued. "Earth is not interested in becoming the new rulers of the galaxy. We have a different idea." President Walsh's face replaced Admiral Rodriguez on the screen. The human leader looked tired but determined. "We propose the creation of a galactic commonwealth, a group of free worlds working together as equals." The aliens began talking among themselves, but their voices were worried and confused. "What about the species we have already conquered?" the bug alien asked. "What about our empire?" "Your empire ends today," Jake said firmly. "Every world you have taken by force will be offered the chance to join the Commonwealth as a free member. Every species you have enslaved will get to choose their own future." The crystal alien flashed with angry red colors. "You cannot simply destroy everything we have built over thousands of years." "We can," Amy replied. "And we will. The question is whether you want to be part of the solution or part of the problem." General Martinez appeared on another screen. "We have already sent messages to every conquered world in your territory. We are offering them protection and support if they choose to rebel against hegemony rule. You are also invited to join the Commonwealth," President Walsh added, "but only as equals. No more conquest, no more slavery, no more ruling over other species." The tall alien finally spoke. "And if we refuse? If we try to rebuild our military and attack you again?" Jake smiled, but it was not a happy smile. "Then you will discover what humans are capable of when we are not just defending our home. You'll have seen what we can do when we fight on our own territory. Do you really want to find out what happens when we bring this technology to your worlds?" Meaning was clear. Earth's gravity weapons could reach anywhere in the galaxy. No alien world would be safe if they chose to continue their wars of conquest. "We need time to think," the crystal alien said. "You have 1 week," Admiral Rodriguez announced. "After that, we begin liberating every world in your territory, whether you agree or not." As the human delegation prepared to leave, the tree-like alien called out to them. "Why are you doing this? You could rule the galaxy now. You could make all of us your slaves." Jake stopped and turned back. "Because that is exactly what you would do. We are not you." Dr. Hayes added, "We believe that every species has the right to live free. Every world should get to choose its own path. No one should be forced to serve others just because they are weaker. Besides," Amy said with a small smile, "ruling over others is a lot of work. We would rather spend our time exploring the galaxy and learning new things." Over the following months, the galaxy changed completely. One by one, conquered worlds declared their independence from the hegemony. Some chose to join the new Commonwealth. Others decided to remain independent but friendly. A few tried to start their own small empires. But they quickly learned that Earth was serious about protecting freedom. The hegemony itself split apart. Some alien species chose to join the Commonwealth and worked toward a better future. Others tried to rebuild their military, but they found that their technology was useless against human gravity weapons. Captain Steve Johnson, now commanding a ship that traveled between worlds, wrote in his log, "It has been 1 year since the battle for Earth. The galaxy is a very different place now. Instead of one empire ruling over everyone, we have hundreds of free worlds working together. Trade is growing. Art and science are flourishing. People are learning about each other instead of fighting. Some of the former hegemony species have become our closest allies. It turns out that when you treat others as equals, they often become friends." The humans who said invading Earth was pure madness were right, but they were not talking about us. We're talking about the aliens, who thought they could conquer a species that had learned to bend the laws of physics themselves. Today, when young aliens ask their elders about the old days of conquest and empire, they are told a simple story. Once upon a time, a great empire thought it could conquer a small blue planet. They learned too late that sometimes the most dangerous enemy is the one who does not look dangerous at all. That is how the Age of Freedom began.